everyone, welcome to the CNBC-TV18 Mumbai newsroom. I'm Ekta Batra and with me is Vaishali Parekh. You're watching Your Stocks on CNBC-TV18 this Monday. Well, it's raining earnings season, so we have a lot to talk about in terms of a lot of earning reactions. But besides that, we also have a recovery which took place for the markets and which has managed to sustain. So we still have the Nifty, which is above 19,000 as we speak. But a lot of queries to answer over the next 30-odd minutes. So let's get going on that. Hi, Pavitra. Well, we'll get to Pavitra in just a bit. Joining us this afternoon, we have Vijay Chopra of encoventures.com and Vaishali Parekh of Prabhudas Lilladher to answer all of your stock queries this afternoon. Vaishali, well, I'm going to start by asking you a general question with regards to the markets. We've seen recovery, but there is still uncertainty that we are dealing with in terms of headlines, especially when it comes to geopolitics. What is your sense? Would you buy into this recovery? Would you sell into this recovery? What would your approach be?
Very good afternoon, and thanks for having me on the show. So yes, as you rightly said, of course, there is uncertainty. But, well, on technical parameters, we've seen a good corrective move coming right from 19,800 to 18,800. So which is nearly a 1,000-point correction in the recent past. And 18,800 seems to be a very good support level right now. So, and as long as we've seen that this support is respected right from last week and we are sustaining above that, so further bounce back strategy cannot be ruled out, coming towards 19,250 to start with and also 19,400. So I would say, yes, it is a buy with the support of 18,800, but it would be short-term trading strategies. So still, we do not have clarity on the trend. We would go for short-term trades.
Okay, and Vaishali, what is your call on the Nifty Bank? I mean, today itself, we've seen a 500-point kind of recovery from the lows. What is your sense on where this could be headed just in the near term?
So near term, well, actually 42,000. So till now, banking stocks were underperforming. Now, last week, we saw that, there was some exhaustion in selling pressure. So 42,000 now acts as a very prominent support level, just like in sync with 18,800 in Nifty. And near term, I would say, yes, 43,200 would be the target, but not to rule out 43,500 to 43,800 levels.
Okay, yes, absolutely right. We have the Bank Nifty, which is up around 170 odd points at this point in time. So going well for the Bank Nifty. And we have the mid-cap index, which is not showing as much momentum, is just about flat at this point in time. The advanced decline ratio is also pretty much even keel. Maybe there's a little bit of an improvement and the advanced decline ratio should come up for you to get a better idea in terms of how exactly it's done. As you can see, it's a little bit of a widening which has taken place. But Vaishali, on the broader markets, how would you approach it, considering that we saw a sharp reaction on the downside last week? Would that make you a little more cautious?
Definitely. So, well, I have my fears if we come towards 18,600 and if we see a close below that, that would bring in further confirmation of a downward trend to continue. And that could perhaps give us 18,200. But, well, let's not preempt. Let's wait for those levels to break. Until then, I would say, especially in the mid-cap counter, let's look for stocks which have really shown good support and all. So, well, it would be a stock-specific move right now.
Okay, so let's just get down to the stocks and bring you all of the queries that have come in, because there's a whole lot and Vaishali can hopefully help us answer them. We have Karan Srivastava, who writes in from New Delhi. He says he has 15 shares of Maruti, which he bought at 5,000. So he's making good money on this one. And he wants to know whether he should add more shares at current levels. Vaishali, a lot of the auto stocks have been doing quite well, but do you think Maruti is one where the uptrend looks like there's lots more to go and that, you would feel comfortable putting in money even at these levels?
Yes, Pavitra, I would really lay my bets on auto stocks even now, because even in the choppiness that we witnessed a few days back, the auto sector was really very comfortable and it was holding the levels very well. So I would say that, yes, auto sector has been outperforming. And seeing Maruti per se on chartical view, I would say, well, 10,000 holds as a very crucial support. It would be a buy at every dip, because we see a resistance at 10,800 levels. Once we see a move past that, I won't be surprised to look for a target of 11,500 and so on. So yes, it is bullish, but my view gets negated if 10,000 levels break.
Okay, your view gets negated if 10,000 levels break on Maruti, which has given returns of around 20% just in the past 6 months. But let's get to another query now. We have Samuel Matthews, who writes to us from Kerala. He holds 15 shares of TCS, which he's bought at around 2,000 rupees per share. He asks if it is the right time to add more shares when it comes to TCS. Well, would that be prudent according to you, Vaishali? And would TCS in fact be the top pick for you within the IT space? Any other alternatives you would consider?
So I would definitely agree because TCS, if on chartical view, I would say that yes, it has taken a long-term trend line support right from the 3,000 levels to drawing the trend line. It is at a support of that, and also a 200-day moving average support. So I guess these stocks are good buying opportunities when they correct so much.
Okay, good buying opportunity that could be on TCS. The other query that comes in is on SBI. Now we have Sriram Singh, who writes in from New Delhi. He holds 100 shares of State Bank of India at 300 rupees per share. Stock is currently above 560, and he asks what other banking stocks can he invest in? This is an interesting question, and I want to know the answer as well. Vaishali, where do you see more strength among the banking pack?
So yes, let's start with State Bank of India. Well, the trend has been weak right now, but I see a prominent support coming at 520 levels. So that would be a good buying opportunity at those levels, or one can start accumulating in tranches. But right now, in the current scenario, the banks that are holding on to their fort and showing a good conviction right now are Axis Bank and IndusInd Bank. So Axis Bank, if I would say, even in the choppiness post results, it gave a good bounce. So 960, 970, the support band is very, very strong. So I would say that yes, Axis Bank is a good buy even now. And IndusInd Bank with a support of 1380, I think this stock is ready for a target of 1480 to 1520 in days to come.
Okay, none of the smaller ones, the mid-cap banks?
So with the mid-cap banks, I would say actually I am looking at Canara Bank, that's in the PSU. So I would like that also because it's an all-time high territory. And I think if market momentum sustains, this is still ready to go further on. And I would look at Indian Bank and CSB Bank because if you look at these banks closely, they haven't really broken the trend as such. They are at good support levels and I would lay my bets on those.
Okay, all right. Well, let's stick with the banking space. We have Mayuri, who writes to us from Mumbai. She holds 50 shares of Yes Bank, which she's bought at 100 rupees. She's asking whether to stay invested or to sell at current levels. Well, sitting on a big loss there based on the fact that she bought it at around 100 odd rupees and currently it's at around 16 odd rupees. So, Vaishali, what would you recommend on Yes Bank? Though the numbers were good, what are the technicals telling you in terms of an upside?
So yes, when the stock was at 1750 and all were very bullish and hoping that this would go towards 2022. But post results, we saw that the trend has been broken and we see a further corrective move. But all the same, now that she's held on for so long, keep 1550 as stop loss and wait for a bounce and then exit near 17 to 18 rupees and then get into a good quality stock.
Okay, that could be the call on Yes Bank. The next query comes in, and this is one in the hotel space. We have S. Subramaniam, who writes in from Chennai. He holds 20 shares of Royal Orchid, which he bought at 195. He wants to know the medium-term kind of outlook for his holdings. The stock is currently at 291, so he's made good money on this. Vaishali, from a 2-3 year kind of perspective, what would you suggest?
So even for a 2-3 year perspective, let's see right now in a current scenario, 285 holds as a very crucial support because we've seen the stock taking support various times. I mean, triple support level at these levels. So continue holding because if the view gets right and if we are done with the corrective move, this stock can in all likelihood go once again to 350 to 400 levels. So I would say currently hold with a stop loss of 285 because if 285 levels break, then it would be ideal to book profit and wait for further corrective move coming towards 250 to 60.
Okay, all right. Well, before we take a break, Vaishali, I wanted your thoughts on a couple of these stocks which are showing some good amount of momentum. on not only today, but on a year-to-date basis. So KPIT Technologies would be case in point. That stock is up around 5% today. It's rallied around 67% year-to-date. And even something like a Vodafone Idea, yes, it's a small ticket price, but nonetheless, the stock is rallied close to 50% year-to-date. So it's showing momentum today as well. It's up around 7%. How would you approach a couple of these counters? Do you expect further momentum, and hence would it be a buy at these levels?
So I would say let's start with KPIT Technology. We have seen a good return coming in the previous few months, rather previous few years. It's just been on an upward trend on a continuous basis. So right now also it's just in consolidation, but keep 1110 as support. We are right now at 1181. So I think this stock is ready to again retest 1200 and perhaps higher. So this is a hold or probably buy more at 1101 because that would be making a good favorable risk reward ratio. Now coming to Vodafone. So Vodafone, of course, this stock really scares everyone because we see a lot of volatility. But seeing today's chart and seeing the overall formation, I would say the level 10 holds as a very promising support. And once we see a clarity, if this stock moves about 1250 decisively and sustains, then I think it's ready for a target of 14 to 17 levels. So it's definitely a hold. And if one wishes to buy near 10, because that would keep a very limited stop loss. So yes, it's a positive view for now.
Okay, got that. Interesting take on Vodafone Idea. But with that, we do need to take a short break. Vaishali, there are lots more queries, so please stay with us. We're going to be back in just 2 minutes and then we'll go through the rest of the lot. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Your Stocks, and we have Vaishali Parekh with us, and we also have Mayuresh joining in now. He's equity research at William O'Neill to help us understand the fundamental side of things as well. Mayuresh, thanks for being with us. We have a lot of queries which have come through, so let me just get to the next one. We have Richa Mehta who writes in from Ahmedabad. She holds 50 shares of Suzlon Energy, which she bought at 20 rupees. The stock is currently at around 32. She asks if she can hold the shares for a longer period of time. Mayuresh, what would your call be on a stock like Suzlon? She's definitely, already made a decent amount of money. Would you suggest sticking with this because she is someone who's willing to hold on for a long period?
Afternoon, Pavitra. Yes, I think the hypothesis seems to be in favor of Suzlon and all the wind energy companies at this moment. Suzlon, even Inox Wind, had a reasonable set of numbers yesterday. And with a lot of regulation changes which have happened in the past few months, including the tariff increases that we've probably seen, the expectations in terms of input costs now staying very, very benign, and expectations of large orders expected to come through. 10 gigawatts is the approximate size in the next few quarters, and very few players left in the market to probably suffice and service these orders as well. Suzlon, Inox Wind being one of the few of the companies that can probably do that. Balance sheet repair is on the way. So to a large extent, kind of leverage and kind of debt that they carried onto their books. The expectations over the next 2 to 3 years is with more orders coming through and better execution, margins and operating leverage should start playing in, creating deleveraged balance sheet, and that should probably improve return ratios as well. In a nutshell, she can hold on to this.
Okay. Mayuresh, do you have a view on Adani Green? The net profit has come through and the revenue is up around 40% on a year-on-year basis. to 2,220 odd crores, and the profit also should come flash by for you. EBITDA is up around 96% on a year-on-year basis, so close to 1,700 crores in terms of EBITDA this time. The stock is reacting very handsomely. Margin 76.5 odd percent. The stock is up around 6 odd percent. Any initial thoughts?
No, afternoon, Ekta. I think the numbers are reasonable on a YOY basis. Again, I think the space that it operates out of, very, very lucrative, as I just mentioned. The only issue lies with the tag Adani. What probably happens in terms of the case and the judgment at the Apex Court is something which will determine the fortunes of all the group companies moving forward. But to a large extent, I think numbers better year on year, quarter on quarter. I think one really needs to see the line and line item. But generally, I think the space probably looks interesting, as I said, overall, structurally over the next 4 to 8 months.
Okay, the stock, like Ekta was mentioning, is up around 6% now. But I mean, of course, the cuts that we saw earlier, it's still down around 50% for the year so far. Vaishali, we were talking about Suzlon Energy before this. Would you have a call on that? And where do you find the target for that stock?
So I would say actually Suzlon is too overbought according to me, because I'm seeing the technical, the daily chart as well as the weekly and the monthly. And we've seen a one-way rally coming right from rupees 8 to 33. I think it made a high of 33. So I would say, partial profit booking should be prudent, because in all likelihood, if the stock corrects, it can go towards levels of 27, 28, and that would be the level to add more to the stock or probably lower the cost. So I would suggest put partial profit and wait for a dip to add more.
Okay, all right. Let's get in another query now. We have Patankar Rajendra, who writes to us from Mumbai. He owns 80 shares of Linde India, which he's bought at around 3,000 odd rupees, so making a good profit on that one. He wants to know what to do, whether to add more or to exit this particular counter. So what would you recommend on this one? Mayuresh, any thoughts? Yeah, Mayuresh, is my voice reaching you?
Yeah. So I think the entire story, Ekta, that got played out for Linde, specifically during the COVID times in terms of oxygen cylinders. I think a lot more is evolving at this juncture, and being a specialty chemical provider as well. The end applications can be pretty large and huge as well. So I think the accretion in terms of top-line growth can be quite substantial for Linde India. Balance sheet is very, very healthy as we speak at this point of time. ROE is more than 17.5% as we speak. From a pivot level, as we see at Markets with India, I think a little bit on the late stage base, which probably means that the price action has been pretty too stark and steep over the last few months. Valuations also a little bit on the higher side as we speak compared to standard deviation means. But to a large extent, I think if the investor probably is intending to hold on, the momentum can probably continue. But have your risk parameters in place. By risk, I think we monitor the 50 DMA and the 100 DMA very, very closely. I think watch those levels out, which Vaishali can probably elucidate.
Okay, let's also get Vaishali's view in on this one. Vaishali, Linde India, what are your thoughts on this one? I mean, of course, we all know how the stock has moved and it's seen a crazy run, but what are your thoughts on it now?
I agree with Mayuresh, because actually the stock on technical parameters, it has made a double top at 6,800 levels. So now we are seeing the corrective move setting in, and if 5,800 levels break, then this would be calling for a further corrective move. So either book some profit or wait for 5,800 levels to trigger. If we hold on to that, maybe we can see a retesting of 67, 6,800 levels again. But if 5,800 levels break, then it could call for further corrective move coming towards 5,000. So either book profit or just keep your strict stop loss.
Okay, all right, Mayuresh as well as Vaishali, thanks very much for joining in this afternoon and taking us through all of the queries that we had. Well, we leave the markets in stable shape. So we have the Nifty where it is above 19,100. We have the Sensex where it is above 64,000 as we speak, so up around 250 odd points. And the Bank Nifty, which is up around 0.3%. That's all the time that we have on the show. But do remember to email us your questions and we will address them with our experts. Stay tuned. Closing bell will take you through the last hour of trade.